you never knew about the Mule Barn Theater. First, I want to tell you a little bit about my time at the barn. You haven't had enough self-dribble. As a high school senior at Green Valley High, I didn't know much about college or what to major in, or really much about theater. I'd never even done a monologue when I came to Tarkio. I'd done forensics and one spring play a year, far from knowledgeable in the way of thespians. Or other lesbians. I knew I wanted to do plays, I wanted to sing in the choir and play basketball, not to mention drink, party, and meet girls. When I began my Tarkio career in 1985, a whole new world opened for me, one that I would treasure, reflect upon, and reference for the rest of my life. Who knew? Now, I graduated from Tarkio College in 1989 with my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in theater performance. I was one of 3 that made it out alive with that degree that year. Keith Brazillo, you're here. Dan Berkman and myself. It was far from an easy program. Thank you so much. It was fantastic. Well, there I learned about the art, the craft, the technical side of theater, and most importantly, the business. Now, I'm one of many of you here tonight that have gone on to make a career, a life in theater due to the amazing training and education we received from the theater department at Tarkio College and our memorable experiences in the Mule Barn Theater. For so many of us here tonight, the deep-seated history that the Mule Barn is steeped in would eventually lead to a deep-seated history for us at the Mule Barn. And here to help me share with you this great Mule Barn theater history is a very dear friend of mine since my days at Tarkio College and the barn, a favorite teacher, a talented director who directed me to my first Best Actress Award, and a great inspiration, Mr. Fred Goodson.
Everybody loves Fred.
I guess.
He always wore that
When I was
bandana.
first contacted about addressing all of you with this event, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to be as creative as my partner in crime here. But in my frustration, I decided to turn to an old, tried and true technique. Being the brilliant actor that I am, I decided that you might enjoy a dramatic reading from the Kansas City Yellow Pages. I quickly opened this incredible gift to theater people, only to find that the first listing under the A's is abdominal supports. For
Do something else.
Okay. So here it goes. The theater and all who participate in this wonderful craft are very special people. Group of actors, directors, designers, technicians, ushers, and administrators come from various backgrounds, lifestyles, and ages. With a single goal in mind, to create moments of laughter, tears, and to enlighten our audiences about the human condition and our roles in that, improving that condition. That to me has been a most glorious lifetime mission, as it has for many of you as well, I'm sure. Perhaps I am getting the cart before the mule. But I would like to speak to you about the events following the dreadful demise of the Mule Barn proper in 1989.
end and you're starting at the end with your comments. Why are you starting at the end?
I believe everyone here knows how the story ended. But they may not know how it continued on after the fire.
Okay.
Now, if you will let me get back to my moment, I'm ready to be very moving and sentimental. Amid tears and pain, those of us who were there began to rally forth in that February day, on that February day. We couldn't let this magical environment we had die in those embers, and we didn't. The barn was gone, but not the spirit of those who lived and worked there. It was not long before plans for another space began. There, in a small banquet room in a downtown Tarkio hotel, the Walnut Inn, the magic of the theater was revived in an intimate, I believe, less than 100-seat proscenium space. It took everyone to make that happen. But first of all, it took our teacher, my dear friend and colleague of so many years, Wesley Van Tassel. 72? That's a good number, 70. 75, I'll tell you that. Okay, well, he directed this thing we were doing. His guidance through that crisis was incredibly brave, direct, and committed. Wesley, my friend, I can't thank you enough for that incredible feat that you helped us and organized and directed so that we could continue with what it was we all love to do more than anything in the world, unless it was food, drink, or sex. Unfortunately, the program was short-lived after that. But we had a home till the very bitter end. Thank you, my friend, for your leadership, your love, and your commitment to all of us and the theater. Now, one last thing here. Did you know that the last entry in the Kansas City Yellow Pages is Zoos and Wildlife Conservancies? Wesley, we were a zoo. And you, if only for a short period, conserved our joy and our dreams. Applause.
Thank you, Fred. That was inspirational. Now, on with the history of the Mule Barn Theater. The barn itself was built in the late 1880s. An octagonal three-story red brick structure originally built to house the hundreds of mules that were the source of power for the corn empire for founder David Rankin.
I'm sure Mr. Rankin had no idea that by 1965, when the barn that had been built for mules became the property of the college, it would soon be filled with a bunch of theater asses.
In 1965, when the building was renovated for educational and recreational purposes, it contained a museum and an art gallery in addition to a 200-seat theater in the round, which would serve as the home for the Tarkio College Mule Barn Theater and Professional Summer Stock Repertory Company.
Where I, Fragrance, directed many delightful and insightful plays and musicals with stars of the theater and young budding artists. Certainly not in 1965. I was but a babe in those days.
By June 1968, the basic work had been completed and the Mule Barn Opera House Company began operation on the third floor. The second floor was being used as a gallery for the college art department and housed a full schedule of exhibitions.
We don't know when the powers that be saw the error of their ways, but we certainly never shared the barn with the art department.
In 1970, the Mule Barn was added to the Register of National Historic Places.
Just recently, 1970 was added to the register.
In 1978, the next generation of improvements came about and included the installation of restrooms for the audience. The first performance of the Mule Barn was presented by the Covenant Players, a national repertory company. Later that summer, the Mule Barn Opera Company presented Carnival, and things were underway.
Now that the audience had restrooms, ticket prices went up to $3.
Wow.
Admission remained free to Tarkio College students, and they continued to use the bushes.
After many years of non-union service time, in 1986, the Mule Barn Theater Company joined Actors Equity Association. Though the barn was already well respected, this afforded a sense of validation and opened new doors for students, professional actors, and technicians alike.
That's where I came in, the professional.
On February 18, 1989, the final curtain came down on 22 consecutive years of theater at the Mule Barn Theater. Merchant of Venice was in production at that time. This is where the picture of it burning is supposed to come up. That's something. I blame you, Fred.
Gallinder.
Shouts, cries, and phone calls around town brought students and residents on the run into the cold February night to stand in helpless disbelief as a raging fire devastated our famous landmark.
I remember the band Two Hippies and a Lesbian was playing at the barn that night. Some say the barn exploded in protest.
From 1965 to 1989, the barn was a home to talent, creativity, learning, and joy.
Before 1965, it was a home to mules.
On a clear night in 1908, Mr. Rankin watched his barn burn. He repeated over and over, "Set fire, I'll build it again." Set fire became the mantra for Tarkio College and the Mule Barn Theater, and although we did not build it again the second time it was lost, it is clear to me tonight that those touched by their time at the barn have and will continue to set fire.
We may not have the physical building to call home any longer, but we have our memories, we have each other, and we have tonight. Tonight we welcome you home, but let's not set fire to anything.